Of Sod for the council of the gods, for the council of the holy ones, is Psalm 89:8. And for the confidential discussion in the assembly of Yahweh, we have Jeremiah 23:18 through 22 and Job 15:8. Generally speaking, according to Dexter E. Callender Jr., he says, the word sod, translated both council and counsel, it can be counsel. Sod can be counsel, C-O-U-N-C-I-L. It can also be C-O-U-N-E-S, as in counseling with one another. So that, again, the Hebrew has a dual function here. It's really nifty how Hebrew works this way. That's why we have to get to the Hebrew. He says, this idea is used in the Hebrew Bible to refer to a group or to that which transpires within a given group. And this is the word that is being used in Amos 3:7, which is in conjunction with the Savaot. So this group, Bokovoy contends, is the council of the gods. I think it's a nice piece of work he's done here. Very good. And it is used in the divine realm as well as within a group of humans also. There are contexts where the group are humans, and there are contexts where the group are the divine ones. In all of these instances, these are the hosts of the heavens, or else they're Yahweh's hosts. So these would be the divine group, the council of the gods. I love how he expresses this. I love how he discusses this. Now, and the Tseva, the biblical authors recognize, this is on page 41 of Bokovoy's study now, the biblical authors recognize that the term Tseva, right here, this term for host is a reference to the heavenly assembly. And he reads Daniel 8, verse 10. Daniel chapter 8, verse 10. Where the Zebah is the hosts of heaven, the heavenly assembly. It grew as high as the host of heaven, and there it is, the host of heaven. And it hurled some of the heavenly host and some of the stars to the ground and trampled them. Now granted, interpreting the intended addressee of Amos 3:13 as the council presents a hypothesis that cannot be proved, and he knows that, but he is proposing it within the context of how the Hebrew is being used. And I think he does a very good job, personally. The prophetic oracles in Jeremiah 2, verse 12, these provide a specific addressee, and there's other evidence of the literary constructions featured in Amos 3 that may specifically invoke the heavenly realm. Be appalled, O heavens, at this. Be horrified, utterly dazed, says Yahweh. So see, this heavenly host idea is found within the Hebrew Bible, and it's the same literary construct. The hosts of heaven here are told to be appalled and to be dazed and amazed. These plural imperatives talking to the council of the gods. That's why Bokovoy proposes that Amos chapter 3 verse 13 is also this same audience. Very, very well done, I believe. And the pattern is not unique in the Bible. It is also found in what he calls the Maklu, the Babylonian anti-witchcraft compilation called the Maklu. The literary forms of the ancient Near Eastern traditions are the exact same ones as found in the Hebrew Bible. And he translates these out. He says, O great gods, hear my litigation. Judge my case. This is the same principle that's going on in Amos chapter 3. The house of Jacob is being judged for its destruction. And it's done with plural imperatives here in the Maklu tablets here. They are specifically addressed to the great gods, and the imperatives are plural, exactly as in the Hebrew that I showed you. So the literary construct is exactly the same in the ancient Near East as it is in the Hebrew Bible. I think that's very interesting. And Amos 3:9 and 3:13, these preserve the same literary constructs as attested in the ancient Near Eastern text of the Maklu tablet, which directly invokes the great gods of the council. And so this is who the Elohai Tzavaot are. And I just wanted to touch on that. Lord Yahweh, God of hosts. This reading of Amos 3:13 as summoning God's assembly coheres with the general judicial role fulfilled by the council throughout the ancient Near Eastern traditions. He says that on page 43, that was on page 42, now on page 43, the heavenly council of the gods in the ancient Near Eastern thought formed an important judicial body, governing the affairs of the cosmos, as Richard J. Clifford has explained concerning the Phoenician depiction of this assembly of the gods. As elsewhere in the ancient Near East, the assemblies are pictured as subordinate to individual gods, although the assembly's consent seems necessary for important decisions. The view of the council as a cosmic judicial institution appears prominent in Mesopotamian thought. In one of the Akkadian literary texts from the invocation of the gods to serve as a witness in a judicial decision assumes a prominent role in the appeal made by one Kuzulum against his adversary Elani. He swore, "I am doing you no wrong." He said, "These gods are my witnesses." So he invokes the council of the gods as his witnesses. It's very interesting. And he has several other Mesopotamian texts as examples. On page 44 he says, conceptually these Mesopotamian texts provide a possible background for understanding the biblical depictions of the council. So the Elohai Hasavaot, spoken of in Amos 3:13, seeking the assembly's assistance in the entire chapter of Amos chapter 3, they serve as messengers and witnesses. What this does is it reflects a common ancient Near Eastern usage. It's in the same Sitchin Leben. It's in the same literary milieu as the ancient Near East. It fits beautifully, this context. Oh, and then he says, a beautiful illustration is Isaiah 41, 21 through 23, and I'll just read the translation here. This is the notion of God's presenting a case before the members of the heavenly assembly. He says, submit your case, says Yahweh. Offer your pleas, says the King of Jacob. Let them approach and tell us what will happen. Tell us what has occurred, and we will take note of it. Or announce to us what will occur, that we may know the outcome. Foretell what is yet to happen, that we may know that you are gods. Do anything, good or bad, that we may be awed and see. He says, now though presented as a religious taunt, designed to support Yahweh's supremacy, ultimately the concept of God's presenting a legal case in Isaiah 41 supports the possibility that the Elohai Hasavaot of Amos 3:13 may have performed a similar act. In a judicial context, one of the clearest examples of a biblical text describing the responsibility of the divine council to judge the nations of the earth is Psalm 82. A very famous psalm that I want to explore in great detail. This is the psalm. I'll read his translation. God has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the gods he holds judgment. How long will you judge unjustly and how partially to the wicked, and show partiality to the wicked? Give justice to the weak and to the orphan. Maintain the right of the lowly and the destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. They have neither knowledge nor understanding. They walk around in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods, children of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, you shall die like mortals, and fall like any prince. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations belong to you. So in this present form, this text depicts Elohim standing in the Adah, and they are accusing the other deities of rendering poor judgment. Elohim is God, the the high God, is accusing the other gods in the council of the gods of poor judgments, and he pronounces the death sentence on them because they fail to take care of the poor and the needy. Boy,